Okay, let's get right into it. A huge global situation is blowing up as we speak. Donald Trump has just dropped a massive 48-hour ultimatum on Iran. So we're going to break down exactly what this means, why it's all happening now, and, well, what could happen next.
And his words? Yeah, they couldn't be clearer. All hell will rain down. I mean, that's a direct quote. This is a super high-stakes threat, and it's got the entire world holding its breath. When you use language like that, there's no misunderstanding it. The clock is officially and very loudly ticking. So this really boils down to one massive question, right? Is this whole thing just a high-stakes game of chicken, a bluff to get Iran to the negotiating table? Or are we literally standing on the edge of a huge new war in the Middle East? So let's break down the ultimatum. It's actually pretty straightforward. Iran has 48 hours to do one of two things: make a deal with the US or reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And if they don't, well, the threat is massive military action. And you've got to know, this didn't just come out of nowhere. It's right on the heels of another 10-day deadline that just ran out. Okay, so to really get why this is such a big deal, we need to talk about two things: geography and money. Because it really all boils down to this one tiny stretch of water. One of the most important shipping lanes on the entire planet, the Strait of Hormuz.
Just look at this number, 20%. That's how much of the world's oil has to squeeze through this one narrow passage. It's not an exaggeration to say it's the global oil choke point. Everything depends on it.
And if you're wondering what happens when that choke point gets, well, choked, it's not just about your gas prices going up a few cents. No, we're talking about a full-blown global oil crisis. Think about major economies like India, China, all of Europe. They would get hit, and hit hard. So you see, this isn't just a US versus Iran thing. Not at all. This is about putting the squeeze on the entire global economy.
And keep in mind, the situation over there was already a powder keg waiting to explode. Tensions have been ratcheting up for weeks, right? A US fighter jet was shot down. There have been attacks all over the Middle East. So this ultimatum? It's like tossing a lit match into a room full of gasoline.
All right, so what's the end game here? What's the strategy? Let's try to decode this warning, because there's probably more than one thing going on.
You can really look at this in 4 different ways. First, maybe it's just psychological warfare, right? A classic move: set a scary deadline, create some fear, and force Iran to the table. Second, this could be the real deal, a pre-war signal, the last diplomatic warning before the military gets involved. Third, it's definitely a form of economic warfare. The goal: control the oil routes, control the global economy. And fourth, this is also a message for everyone else watching. It's a big show of American strength aimed at allies and, of course, rivals like China and Russia.
Which brings us to the question everyone is asking. What if Iran says no? What happens if they don't comply? Well, there are basically 6 ways this could go. And let me tell you, things could get really bad really fast.
Okay, possibility number 1. Direct U.S. military strikes. We're talking about hitting key targets inside Iran, their energy plants, oil facilities, military bases. From there, it's a short jump to number 2, a full-scale war. That would pull in the U.S. and its allies against Iran, and it could easily spread to other Gulf countries. And number 3, even if it's just a limited strike, you can bet on a global oil crisis. Prices would go through the roof for everybody, everywhere.
But the fight might not be so conventional. Possibility number 4, Iran unleashes its proxy forces. We could see Iran-backed groups attacking U.S. bases, ships, and allies all over the region. Number 5 is something scarier in a different way: massive cyber and economic attacks. Think about banking systems crashing, power grids going down. And then there's number 6, the worst-case scenario. If things keep escalating, the risk of this whole thing going nuclear, even just the threat of it, goes way up.
So where are we right now? It's a total standoff. On one side, you have the U.S. saying, do what we say or else. And on the other side, Iran has basically said no way. They've rejected the warning, called it unbalanced and helpless, and have thrown out their own warnings of serious consequences. Bottom line, nobody is backing down. And that's what makes this so incredibly dangerous.
And all of this leads us right here to the final countdown. That 48-hour clock is ticking, and honestly, the whole world is just watching and waiting to see what happens. Look, here's the bottom line. This isn't just another empty threat in a long back and forth. The super short deadline, the very specific military threat, this just feels different. This really is a countdown moment. And in the next 48 hours, we're going to find out which way this goes. Will it be a last-minute negotiation that saves the day? A limited surgical strike? Or will this be the start of a massive, devastating regional war? Those are the options on the table.
So that brings us right back to where we started. Now that you have all the facts, what do you think? Is this just an extreme form of pressure to get a deal done, or are we about to witness the start of another major war? I guess the next few hours are going to give us the answer.